What's up, you damn plebeians? I'm Neil with the Balding Plebs, and I am joined here tonight by my brother,
Jdog.
Devil May Cry 5 is just average.
Change my mind?
No,
Oh.
not a change my mind. Welcome to the No BS review. Jdog, let's talk about Devil May Cry 5.
Let's.
You know, the other day you and I were having a discussion. I think we were on our way home from work, and I kind of turned to you. I'm like, you know, dude, that game doesn't feel like anything special. And we kind of talked for a little bit, and then I think maybe you and I both hit it on the head because we came to the agreement that it's just an average game.
I think average overall, when you compare it in context with the other gaming experiences that we're getting today.
Yeah.
And this is the really important part of the review. Devil May Cry 5 is extremely competent at what it does.
Yes.
And that is be an awesome action game.
Yeah.
And the honest truth is I don't think it actually cares about being anything else.
It shouldn't.
But as a gamer, when you're thinking to yourself, do I buy this? It is imperative that you ask yourself that question. Am I okay with a action game?
Yes.
That is nothing else. If the answer to that question is yes, buy it because it's extremely good at it.
Yep. It does the combat very well. It does the action very well. It does the
bravado.
The bravado, the big fight feel. The characters have an attitude and an edge to them that is very entertaining. So I take nothing away from it in those departments.
And there is something to be said for knowing what you are
Yes.
and executing it correctly.
Well, especially in today's gaming market with so many companies trying to make the next game that's X, Y, Z, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, and they fall short. They make one category really great, but they fall short of all the others.
You know, you don't see this game trying to be the new open world, right?
Thank
game.
God.
And there is something to be said for that in a positive way.
Yes.
And I don't want to come on here and I don't want to just badmouth the game because it's not fair. The game understands what it is.
Yes.
It understands what its fans want, and it delivers it.
Yes, it does.
And you need to decide if that's what you're okay with.
Yes.
I think when I look at the game in a broader context, for myself personally, I am not willing to say I would pay $60 for this experience.
No way.
Because I'm only willing to play through the game one time.
Yep.
I'm probably only willing to play through the game at the easiest difficulty.
Yep.
I'm not interested really in getting all the skills, getting all the achievements, getting the triple S rankings, beating the games on the harder difficulties or anything like that.
Yeah.
So for me, personally, I'm really only going to complete a third of the game, so to speak.
Well, I think, you know, and I think you and I, we talk about this all the time when we you know, like, let's take our collector's edition breakdowns, for example. You know, we talk to people about, and we say things like, well, we think it's worth X, Y, and Z, and we think that this is a good value. You know, remember, always assuming that you're a day one buyer for $60. And, you know, and then we'll compare that same kind of breakdown to Devil May Cry 5. Where we say, well, the game is an action game. That's it. And it's going to have, you know, for the most part, fast-paced combat. And it's going to have flashy characters, big bosses. Just like you said, if you're okay with that,
You're going to get your money's
then you're
worth.
going to get your money's worth.
If you're looking for anything more in a game, please understand that you're not going to find it here.
And you should not pay $60 for it.
And not only are you not going to find it, but you shouldn't actually even expect to find it.
Nope.
And it's really important that you understand that.
Because to be fair, it never presents that it is those other things.
It never does.
And that's the best part, I think, about Devil May Cry 5 from a positive standpoint, is just like we said, it's not trying to be something that it isn't, and it does the action gameplay, the action game in general, very, very well.
Yep, and so, you know, when I review the game, I do look at it from a value trade-off standpoint.
Yeah, of course. We always do.
And for me personally, again, this is a game that I can feel confident with having rented it, right?
Yeah.
Pay that $8 to $10 play through it, get my playthrough, experience it, and move on.
Yep.
I'm just not in a position where I feel like there is a $60 value here as far as replaying it and really probably delving into the combat in the way that it needs to. When you are playing on the easier difficulties, the game is definitely easy.
Very easy. Not a challenge.
And it's probably a button masher in many ways, where you don't have to necessarily understand or care about the intricacies of the combat, for the most part.
Well, that is what I found myself feeling during combat, specifically playing as V. I really felt like it was just a button mash. And, how fast can I hit him with the crow? How fast can I hit him with the panther? Just, on the controller, and it's like, it did nothing to hold my attention.
Yeah.
But I also wasn't going to play through it on the difficulty, trying to experience the game. I also wasn't going to play through it on a difficulty that would make the game impossible.
Or that would force that sort of understanding.
Yeah.
That more intricate understanding. And so, again, you have to understand the type of gamer that you are. You have to understand what you're looking for in a game before you commit to this game specifically.
Yes.
If you're like us, you can play through this in a few sittings with a rental, right?
But it will only ever be an average experience for you.
It will. If you really value multiple playthroughs here, really understanding each of these characters, really learning them, really buying all the skills, then honestly, I think you're going to get your money's worth here.
I agree with you.
And you can be confident in that.
I agree with you.
But you have to know. You have to understand that before you go into this game.
Well, Jdog, we've kind of said some generalizations here. We've kind of made a few points. Why don't we talk about some of the different aspects of Devil May Cry 5, and then we'll come back together and we'll bring it all together at the end.
Let's do it.
So let's talk about the sound in this game. I have written down here the sounds were good. The music is fun. It's high pace. It's high energy. It keeps you into the combat. For me, my favorite character obviously is Nero, not because, I recently played as him in a previous game, but I like his music. I like his weapons. I like the breakers. I think it all works together really well. With Dante, I felt kind of overwhelmed, and with V, I just felt mash, 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 mash.
Yeah.
Again, that was my experience with the game.
Nero's probably the most balanced character, just from a variety standpoint, because of the different breakers that there are.
So with Nero, I really enjoyed my game. I enjoyed my time with Nero, and I really very much so enjoyed the music. Kept me into it. But with the music and the combat, music starts at the start of combat, ends at combat, and then the same music starts up the next time you get into combat. So that felt a little bit repetitive, a little bit samey, though at times they do switch it up, so that kept it interesting as you moved and progressed from area to area. But there were definitely some moments where the music was starting to get like, oh wow, Devil Trigger again, really? Give me something different, like holy crap, right?
Yep. For me, the voice acting in this game is very good.
Yes.
And I think that was a major positive. The inflections in the voices, the tones, the bravados of the different characters are apparent, and they really come across quite well. And I especially like who's the girl in the truck in the band? Nico. She is really great.
She's fantastic.
She has that certain kind of bad girl tinker vibe going on that is very neat, and her integration into the game is well done as well.
Yep. Yeah.
I'd say maybe one of the weaker parts would be like the main villain. What the hell's his name? Urizen. He just feels like one of the guys out of the Avengers, one of the big bads out of Avengers, where he just sits on the throne, can't be touched, talks in cryptic language all the time. Yeah. And so I thought his personality was just a little bit... I don't know how to explain it. It just didn't quite thrill me like I wanted it to.
Yeah.
From a big bad standpoint, just on a personal level. I thought some of the fights with him, it felt like you'd get up to him, you'd fight him, you couldn't beat him, right? So many times that it just was kind of like...
Well, I actually have a point I want to make on that when we get into the level design and gameplay section. So remember that.
Yep. So I'd say that specific part was a little disappointing. There was always something really special I felt in like a game like Dark Souls when, even if you were underpowered, having a certain sense of possibility that you could defeat or damage or get something out of a big fight.
Well, spoiler alert. So for anybody that doesn't want to hear this, stop listening. Spoiler alert, you can actually defeat your Risen as Nero at the end of the game instead of as Dante.
Ah.
So if you're really, really good, you can actually beat him as Nero.
Okay.
That's that's a secret ending.
Oh, so maybe it is in there then.
But
well,
not,
I guess we're
not
not
initially. Not initially.
Oh, but not initially. Okay.
Because he goes to the top of the big plant, the plot or whatever the hell it's called.
Okay. So there definitely was some of that, like, the game taking over the game type of stuff in there, where the player almost felt helpless or out of control.
Like it's booked in, like it's programmed in, you can't win.
It's like a fixed fight, so to speak, which I don't particularly love,
especially in 2019.
In games, I just don't. So for me, that is a disappointment. I did think the overall enemy design, sounds, and things like that were fine, though.
Yeah,
I like that. That had really good variety.
Yes, it did.
And it's important to say that.
Liked it a lot. Jdog, let's talk about the combat. Remember, we played on human difficulty.
Yeah.
So on human difficulty, the combat is very repetitive.
Did you ever die?
No.
Except when you had to?
No. Yeah, well, you don't have a choice. I never died. Never used a gold orb. I failed 3 or 4 times in a row on a secret mission, but that's not a death. Combat's very repetitive on human difficulty, but again, we talked about knowing what the game is and knowing what you want to get out of the game.
Yep.
If you just want to get a playthrough, it's not a $60 purchase for you. It's probably a $20 to $30 purchase for you on sale.
Yeah.
The combat on human difficulty is very repetitive. You move from set piece to set piece. Built-in combat arenas, they get blocked off by those little blood webs and stuff.
Yep.
And you have to fight the enemies. You have to defeat the enemies. So it's set piece to set piece. There is a variety of weapons and breakers that can make for better, experience in combat and more variety there. But I mean, it's still smash, 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 kill, collect, smash, 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 kill, collect. Like, it's not going to change. The bosses have patterns and tells that are very exploitable, and when you do exploit them, it's like fucking game over.
Yeah.
It's basically, it really is. V's combat felt and functioned like a really wild button masher. Like, the faster you could hit square and triangle on the PS4 for us, faster you could hit those 2 buttons, the faster his monsters attacked, and it was just like, same 2 buttons. Oh, L2 plus triangle, L2 plus square. Oh, L1, there's my trigger. Oh, here comes the nightmare. Whoa, mash, 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 mash. It's how it felt.
Yep.
I'm not gonna pull my punches on that. That is how it feels. It feels like a button masher. On harder difficulties, it probably is not. There's probably a much more intricate set of dodging and other things that you need to do in order to survive. Again, that's not what we were looking for here. We were looking for a playthrough. We were looking for to experience the game. And if you're not looking for that full experience, that full $60 learning the intricate ins and outs of the combats on the hardest difficulties, this game will probably disappoint you.
Yeah. Yeah, it'll definitely leave you wanting, I believe.
Absolutely.
No doubt.
Let's talk about Nero for a second. My biggest gripe with Nero, the only thing I didn't like about playing as him, is when I'm fighting and I've defeated one enemy and I want to wire snatch the next to me, I hit R1 and I hit circle and I go to wire snatch and he shoots a devil breaker. Like I'm in the middle of pop, 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 R1 and circle. Come on, wire snatch the guy. Devil breaker. Like, what the fuck, dude? 50% of the time I would say that happened. And it was an incredibly annoying breakup of the flow of combat for me. And you saw it happen multiple times in the air. He would go, pah, pah. I'm like, no, fucker. I said do the wire snatch. I hit the goddamn R1 button, so do it. And then, of course, I found out that if you hold R1 first and then hit circle, it's much better. But still, it really brings back that speed when I have to, when you got to slow things down. And I don't like that. Nero felt like the combat was more fast-paced. It felt like the combat was more, high energy. And I liked that about his character. That's why I liked playing as him so much. That's why I always chose to play as him first.
Yep.
But when that wire snatch failed, it's like, fuck. It just got to be annoying. And actually, if you go back and watch some of my earlier live streams where I'm playing as Nero, I get pretty pissed off about it. I'm like, dude, fucking throw the goddamn wire.
Like, yeah, when you expect a certain cadence and a certain move set to occur, and it doesn't, it's like a block, right? In your plan of what you're going to do next, and it stops. It stops your play.
Yep.
And that's a huge problem.
And I have to be totally honest, I want to give both sides to it. There were some times during combat where I hit that and it worked, and it was amazing.
Yeah.
That was really cool.
Because it kept your flow.
It did. And I would go from one enemy to the next enemy to the next enemy to pull myself to the little arms that grow up out of the ground. Slash, slash. Pull myself to the next one. Smash. To the next one. Smash. I just kept going and going and going and going. And I thought that was so cool. And I really, really liked that. But goddamn, dude, when you threw that Devil Breaker as a miss in there, oh, did that break things up. Yeah. And it really hurt the pace of the combat for Nero.
Yep.
Level design. It's par for the course for the Devil May Cry series. It hasn't changed at all since the first Devil May Cry.
Yeah.
I don't care what anybody says. If the graphics weren't amazing, which they are, I would have thought I was playing the first Devil May Cry or the second or third. The level design is par for the course. It's not bad. It's fine, but when I was playing the game, I was like, God damn, I remember this from Devil May Cry 1, on PS2.
Yeah, for the level design for me, I definitely thought it could have been more, I don't know if open is the right word, but I definitely thought it could have been more interesting.
It was a very linear experience.
It was.
I don't hate linear games, provided that they remain interesting.
Yeah. And yes, there were some, different things you could find, some items off in some corners. There was some of that,
and
absolutely.
That was very cool.
And it was. But there wasn't, at least to me, it didn't feel like the levels had enough variety where you'd really find uber secrets, right? Or you'd really find interesting ways to go through the levels.
Yeah.
I did not see that. No. And again, I could be totally wrong, could have missed it. I'm not gonna say we didn't miss some things.
Yeah.
But
I know we missed some secret missions.
I just didn't feel like there was a wow moment in a level where we have take any game, right? Usually in the level design there is some wow moments. I did not get a wow moment from this game's levels. I just didn't. I don't know if it's because they felt so just like the backgrounds in them and the landscapes just felt so samey, right? And like, you're in a city, right? A crumbling city. Okay, that's the whole entire level. You're in a house, right? You go in a house, in a mansion or a hotel.
Half the floor is down. You got to work your way up, fight the guys. Then the new area opens. You go fight the guys through there. Like,
you're in the underground area with the blood veins and all that shit. Again, each level feels contained. They are unique.
Yes.
But there didn't seem to be anything in them where I was like, oh, I have to go explore this area.
Cool.
Whereas like, oh my god, I found something here. What could be in here, right? And that was, I think, where I think this game definitely missed an opportunity.
Yeah.
Big time.
Absolutely.
There wasn't enough within the exploration outside of the combat to really make me feel like I cared about doing something other than going from set piece battle to boss to end.
Yeah.
Right? Was there a side area? And I'm not just talking a secret mission. I'm just talking some sort of side area that you could have found with a couple big-ass creatures that would have really gave you something awesome.
Other than a blue orb piece.
Other than a blue orb piece, right? Maybe instead of having to buy every skill, right, you could have actually found a skill.
Yeah.
Right?
Or a voucher or something.
Something like that. And I don't know. I'm just throwing things out there about ways that I feel they could have really added something different into the level design.
So speaking
Could
of
you have broken a wall somewhere, right? To go create a new path through the area. Something, just anything. I didn't see a lot of that. And that for me...
That wasn't linear. Some of it was part
Yeah.
of where you're going.
Yeah, that gave different options, or gave something to make me say, I'd love to play through this level again to see if I can find something interesting.
Instead of fighting that boss, maybe I'll fight this boss instead.
Exactly. So there was a lot of that disappointed me in the way the levels were created.
Speaking of level design, this really annoyed me about this game. And anybody watching this that hasn't already stopped watching to go type hate comments, but anybody watching this that's, really listening to what we have to say, give me your thoughts on this. The first, I think it was 7 or 8 or 9 missions before, Dante gets his sword and goes and fights Urizen, and then Urizen goes to the top of the tree or whatever. Before all that, you basically played the same sequence as 3 different characters over again. You played the same sequence as V, then you played it as Nero, then you played it as V, and then you finally played it as Dante. But it was all the same sequence, bringing character A, B, and C up to Urizen, just so you could get beaten. Then you could go get the Sword of Sparta, then you get the Devil Sword of Dante, then you come and fight Urizen, and it's like... I literally watched Urizen beat Nero like 2 or 3 times.
Yeah.
The same fight. And then I played the fight where Dante loses as Dante. I'm like, I don't need to play this. I already saw you loses. I don't need to play it. Mm-hmm. It felt like filler. Yeah. It felt like time waster, like to extend the game. I mean, I feel like this game's campaign should be like 8 to 10 hours. And it's just added. All that is added. Maybe that's for story's sake. Maybe it's
to
so
show
you can,
the different perspectives.
And that's fine. Yeah. But it felt like a total waste of my time.
Well, and I just feel like that's where some of the level design failed here. Is it's like you've been through the same areas, and the palettes are monotone in so many ways that they just don't feel as interesting as I wish they did.
But that sequence where you played as all 3 characters getting to the same exact point, knowing already what was going to happen, that felt like filler.
Yeah.
And, hey, I'm totally open, to somebody that wants to think differently about it. That's fine. It felt like filler. And I actually found myself, you and I talked about this. And, being the No BS review, we can be open about this. I found myself getting bored during gameplay.
Yeah.
So I'm playing DayZ right now with some friends, and I found myself saying, I just want to get this episode over with so I can go and play DayZ. And that game's old. Mm-hmm. That game is not brand new. The official release is brand new, but that game is not necessarily a new release. And I found myself saying, I'm kind of done with DMC5. I'm not, it's not a bad game. In fact, I think Devil May Cry 5 is a great action game. And that's it.
Yeah, and we probably just expect more from a variety standpoint in games these days.
Yeah, of course we do.
We're probably a little spoiled with what we have been able to play and the way gaming has changed, that just action for action's sake isn't enough for us.
Yep.
And again, when we review the game and we discuss it from a money standpoint, right, and you look at this as a $60 game, I think you can wait here, pick this up at $20 or $30, and get the same experience.
Yeah, and have a really good value
and
there.
Not feel as though you've got a $60 investment in something you may not get the type of money and enjoyment out of that, you want to for $60, I think.
I'm with you 100%.
Again, if you're on the other side of this spectrum, where you're like, I don't care, I just care about the action, I care about playing through this 2-3 times,
I want to play the hardest combat, I want to learn all the skills. Yeah, it's a $60 game.
Then buy it, because Absolutely. It is worth it then.
Absolutely.
It's just, you got to know the type of gamer you are, you got to understand what you're looking for in a game, and that's going to very significantly alter your perception of what you're paying for here.
Absolutely.
And that is an absolute truth. Devil May Cry 5 is extremely good at what it does. And
it's not trying to be anything else.
It isn't trying to be anything else. And that is a fair statement. Just understand that when you buy it. You're not going to get anything else. And that's the bottom line here, ladies and gentlemen. So,
yep.
If you're okay with straight up action, nothing else,
And you're going to play through it multiple times?
$60 is fine.
Yep.
You're expecting anything different, wait.
Yeah, it'll just be an average game for you.
Wait. Or rent it. And you save yourself some money.
Yeah.
And that's the bottom line.
Yep. You know, Jdog, I'll be interested to see what the plebs and the viewers here in the comments think. I'd love to, and again, I'd love to get your guys' thoughts on that initial repetitive sequence with your Risen, seeing it from all three character standpoints. Did you think that was interesting, or were you kind of with me on that? Did you kind of think that was filler? Did you kind of think that was repetitive? Let me know what you think. Also, give me your full thoughts on Devil May Cry 5 down in the comments. Like the video if you enjoyed the honest, no BS review and breakdown here for Devil May Cry 5, and we'll see each and every one of you right here next time for more content like this on the Balding Plebs.
Thanks for watching, everyone. Good night.
GG, ya plebs.